For some, Halloween is a day of celebration. For others, not so much. While most people celebrate Halloween by spending their time hunting down the best costume, I celebrate by spending my time finding what I like to call spooky games. With so many Halloween games on the market, my goal of this video is to point you in the right direction for some fun games that you could be playing to celebrate your Halloween. There's no particular order for this video. I'm just going to be giving you my thoughts on the games included. As always, if you enjoy the video, leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Happy Halloween! Starting off this list with a zombie game may potentially seem like a cliche thing to do, especially with a game like Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I've known about this game for quite some time, and when I saw it for sale at my local retro video game store weeks before I was making this video, I knew I had to have it. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is classic Konami goodness. The game hasn't aged a day. People of all ages can pick this game up and have a good time with it. Who wouldn't want to take down some zombies with a squirt gun? This little run and gun game allows you to choose between two characters, Zeke and Julie, and it's their job to save the world. You can play this game in two-player co-op or single player. As the player, you navigate suburban neighborhoods, shopping malls, pyramids, haunted castles, and other areas, destroying a variety of horror movie monsters, including vampires, werewolves, huge demonic babies, spiders, and of course the game's namesake, zombies. It's the goal of the player to rescue numerous types of neighbors in each level. The neighbors you rescue include barbecue chefs, teachers, babies, tourists, inspectors, soldiers, dogs, and cheerleaders. There's a mini-map on the player hub screen to help the player navigate the levels and find the neighbors. When you find a neighbor, walk over them and they're saved. You need to be careful because if any enemies walk over your neighbor, they will die. Once all the neighbors are rescued, a door will appear taking you to the next stage. There's 48 levels to play through here, plus 7 bonus stages. That alone makes this game worth it. The levels get harder and harder as you would expect. There are potion power-ups in this game and tons of items to help you fight off hordes of enemies. There's also a password system in this game, which I think is a great idea. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is a classic Halloween game, and I couldn't recommend it enough. If you're looking for something a bit creepier with more gore, check out Nightmare Creatures for PlayStation 1. This game caught my attention immediately because I've never heard anything about it, so when I picked it up, it was a mystery to me whether it was going to be good or not. When I took it home and tried it out, I remember a time when I was a kid and I played this game on a demo disc. I can remember not even getting past the intro scene without getting scared because I was used to games like Crash Bandicoot. Then this game came along on a demo disc and scared the crap out of me. It's funny to look back on now, and some of you may laugh and ask, how could you be scared of that game? It's easy now to look at the graphics of the game and immediately write it off. But for the time, this game caused a lot of kids like me nightmares, straying away from it to go play our happy-go-lucky adventure games like Spyro the Dragon. I always say, to me, a good game doesn't need state-of-the-art graphics to be good, but that's just my opinion. Nevertheless, Nightmare Creatures is such a good game, and now that I have my big boy pants on, I decided to give it a good playthrough. Developed by Callisto Entertainment and published by Activision, Nightmare Creatures was released in 1997. Our story begins in 1666 London when a devil-worshipping cult called the Brotherhood of Hecate conducted sinister experiments on people, providing them with superhuman abilities. However, it didn't go as planned, and the results created grotesque monsters and vile creatures. As the Brotherhood planned to use these creatures for their army of conquest, one of the members, Samuel Pepys, set the headquarters up in flames, creating the infamous First Great Fire of London. Fast forward to 1834 and London falls victim to several evil incidents. Sightings of monsters are reported as well as news of people being mutated into ungodly creatures. All of London is in a state of panic and vulnerable to the schemes of the main protagonist, Adam Crowley, a mad scientist who is enlisting the help of the Brotherhood. As all this is going on, a book is dropped off at the home of antagonist character Ignatius Blackwood, who is a priest and a supernatural expert. He finds the book to be the lost diary of Samuel Pepys, which contains the Brotherhood's research and secrets. Knowing that he needs help, Ignatius sends the diary to renowned American doctor, Dr. Jean Franciscus in New Orleans, who shows up to London with his daughter, Nadia. The good doctor is murdered and the book is stolen. At the funeral, Ignatius and Nadia are approached by a man who gives them a note reading, "Know about Adam Crowley, Brotherhood of Heegate," signed HVHJ. Ignatius and Nadia head out to an address listed on the note, hoping to seek out Crowley and eliminate anything in their path. They will stop at nothing to find Crowley and restore peace to London. The game plays as a third-person survivor horror game and allows you to choose to play the game as Ignatius or Nadia. The controls take some time getting used to, but after a few minutes I caught on how the game is played. This isn't the type of game that you rush through slaying everything in your path. It takes time. You need to approach every enemy with caution. The camera does do a pretty good job of following the on-screen action. Using the left and right bumpers will allow you to quickly dodge an incoming attack and counter with your own. The action in this game feels so satisfying. There's nothing like countering an enemy and slicing them in two or hitting them with a great set of combos, my favorite being the flip kick that Nadia does. There's a magnitude of items you need to pick up in order to survive this game. The first item is an item you start with, which is the gun. Be careful because the gun only has one shot and is best saved for hard to kill enemies. There's all kinds of hidden areas and levels, so be sure to search everywhere you can. But if you go for too long without eliminating another enemy, your stamina bar will run out, leaving you dead. There is an option in the game to turn off the stamina bar if you would prefer not to have to worry about it. You can find weapon upgrades and increase your damage to enemies. After playing through a few levels, you'll battle a boss monster like the Snake Boss. In total, there's 4 bosses in the game and tons of levels, ultimately leading to a big showdown with Adam Crowley himself. There's so much to love about this game, and I know for a fact it's going to be one I'm going to be coming back to over and over again. Nightmare Creatures is definitely an amazing experience, and you should definitely keep your eye out for it. What more can I say about Friday the 13th for the NES that already hasn't been said? This game has been reviewed countless times and normally to the demise of the player. There's also people who really enjoy the game and it has since grew a cult following of its own. Regardless, the game is nonetheless a piece of history and will stand the test of time. For me, the experience brings other thoughts to mind. Is this the type of game you'd want to spend your time with this Halloween, or is this the dreaded game that everyone makes it out to be? Let's check it out. Released in North America in 1989, Friday the 13th is a side-scrolling survivor horror game for the NES. The game was developed by Atlas of Japan and published by the infamous LJN. For those of you who don't know, LJN is a company that would buy licenses to popular characters for their line of toys and video games. A lot of their stuff is hit or miss when it comes to video games, with the majority being the latter. Anyways, this game is known to be a challenging title that will test your ability throughout the game. The game can be beaten in less than 20 minutes, however, you're going to have to work through some trial and error in order to do so. The game sees you taking the role of one of 6 camp counselors at Camp Crystal Lake. All of the camp counselors play differently, with some of them having faster walking speeds and others having higher jumping ability. And then there's Debbie. Don't pick Debbie. She's terrible. As the camp counselor, you must travel around the camp picking up items to help you eventually destroy Jason. It's important for new players to note how the map screen works in this game. There's 3 circles that run a loop around the camp. As you walk from left to right on the screen, your character will move around the map, but the direction is opposite of how you would normally wish to travel. If you want to walk to the outer or inner circles, simply walk up or down whenever you come to a branching pathway. This mechanic takes some getting used to, but after a little time with it and a lot of checking the map screen, you'll get used to it. Jason can show up to any cabin in the game at any time, and if you don't get there in time, you will kill one of the remaining counselors, or the children. Pretty menacing for an early NES game if you ask me. Keep in mind, this game was made before things like the ESRB existed. If you get to a cabin where Jason is, you'll end up fighting him one-on-one similar to Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! If Jason beats you, you die and you have to choose a new counselor. Once you lose all of your counselors, it's game over. I've heard there's better weapons in the game like the pitchfork or the torch that'll help you defeat Jason easier. I'm working on getting better at finding these items. I haven't got too far in the game yet, but I think if I play it every Halloween for quite some time, I might get closer to beating Jason once and for all. Friday the 13th gets a bad rep from people, and I think it's one of LJN's better games. It's definitely worth a play this Halloween. If you're looking for something in the sports genre, look no further than EA's Mutant League Football. The game features a different approach than the Madden games of that era. Remember, this is a game developed by EA, so it runs on the Madden 93 engine and still plays well, even to this day. The story behind the Mutant Football League and how it was formed is found directly in the manual and goes like this. The origins of Mutant Football League are shrouded in the mists of time, the madness of thermonuclear destruction, the planet-wide upheaval of alien invasion, the eeriness of restless corpses busting from the grave, and a sloppy filing system set up by some temp. What records still exist have been altered by haphazard scribes, sly propagandists, and what appears to be barbecue sauce. Centuries ago, the galaxy was beset by a series of shattering cataclysms, exploding supernovas, interstellar firestorms, atomic war, upheavals in the space-time continuum, and repeated sanitation strikes plunged everything into chaos. A barbaric new order arose from the ashes, but it decided it liked being in the ashes, so it sunk back into them. That got crowded before long, so even more barbaric order appeared which didn't so much rise from the ashes as it got kicked out of them. This new order splintered into numerous warring planets. All-out war returned to the galaxy and weapons of mass destruction reappeared. But one race realized that this would only lead once again to widespread and perhaps final annihilation. So at the bidding of the Ancient Ones, they organized Mutant League to settle conflicts in small, semi-controlled battles. These battles would take form in the ancient contests, such as football and hockey. These contests came to be viewed more as sports than wars, and participants were seen as teams rather than armies. But the deeper meaning of these confrontations was never lost. This was war, the participants were soldiers, and the places that they clashed were battlefields. Old rivalries continued, while new ones were born. At the conclusion of each battle season, the teams would meet in a ritualized battle that would lead to one final victor. In Mutant League Football, this final confrontation is called Mutant Bowl, while in hockey is known as Monster Cup. By these barbaric methods, the greatest planet in the galaxy made itself known, at least until next season. With an introduction like that, this game has got to be great, right? Well, while it's not without its faults, you'd be pretty much spot on. This game has everything you need from an arcade-style horror football game. There's plenty of teams to select from, and each of them play differently as you would expect from a sports game. Some teams have better defense, and other teams have better offenses. You can choose different fields to play on, and the surfaces of the fields change in colors and texture. Since the fields are played in space, if a player hits you on the edge, your player will fall off the edge and out into the atmosphere. There's also plenty of hazards that will stand in your way of reaching the end zone. You'll go through, pick a play, and hope it works out for you. One added feature I really like is the nasty plays, which come in the forms of audibles. Each team has different nasty plays to choose from, and they give your team the advantages over the opposition. One of the audibles bribes the ref and another one kills the ref, which I find hilarious. You can call nasty audibles on offense and on defense, but you only get a total of 6 per half, 3 on offense and 3 on defense, so use them wisely. The characters included in this game are a variety of skeletons, aliens, superhumans, trolls, and robots. I like the name puns they use, like Bones Jackson. Speaking of, Bones Jackson is the best player in the game, hands down. The dialogue does get a little annoying, and after a while you'll see repeated dialogues and kind of lose interest. You can play a single game or a full season. Even the halftime show has you tossing bombs at aliens, which is a fun added mini-game. This game for me has been a treat ever since I bought it. I've been playing it for years now, and it's become a staple of my sports venture during Halloween.
Look, a butterfly.
Wow! Look how it just floats in the air.
So carefree, so beautiful. Hey, let's follow it to see where it goes.
If you're looking for something a little more obscure this year for Halloween, you might want to check out Mansion of Hidden Souls on the Sega CD. This walking simulator was developed by System Sega in December of 1993. The game starts out with an eerie intro cutscene that was actually ahead of its time back in 1993. The cutscene is choppy, but the voice acting sounds pretty good. One dark night, two siblings, Samantha and Jonathan, come across a butterfly in a grassy field. Captivated by the butterfly's lingering beauty, Samantha chases it. Jonathan follows hesitantly, reminding Samantha of grandmother's warnings about ghosts who roam this area, turning humans into butterflies. The butterfly leads Samantha into a nearby mansion that only appears on nights where there's a full moon. Jonathan, running a little bit behind, notices Samantha is nowhere to be found. Entering the mansion and with the door closing behind him, Jonathan must explore the mansion, overcoming several puzzles, and escape with his sister before the pair of them become permanent residents of the Mansion of Hidden Souls. Playing as Jonathan from the first-person perspective, you traverse throughout the mansion, uncovering more and more about its residents. The residents are all butterflies, and as you enter each different room, a few cutscenes will take place painting a picture of the story of the soul who inhabits it. The voice acting is really good in this game, and I enjoyed listening to what each soul had to say. In fact, all of the sound effects in this game set the stage for some pretty creepy exploring, except for the fact that it sounds like Johnny Boy is clomping around in some high heels. There are a few items that you'll pick up along the way. For example, the diary will allow you to save your game. When you complete part of the story, I recommend you use the diary to save because there are some ways you can lose and get a game over screen. Another key item is the watch. When you pick it up, a timer starts and you have 1 hour to complete the rest of the game. Like I said, save the game as soon as you get the watch because you may run out of time with some of the harder puzzles in this game. There's a lot more to the story of the game and I don't want to give anything away. I can only tell you that if you like mystery games with a creepy twist, this game will keep you on your toes a bit. Mansion of Hidden Souls is pretty cheap too. I got my copy for $24 shipped off of eBay. I'd love to see a remake of this game brought to newer consoles with more story and more twists. Overall, Mansion of Hidden Souls was a great game that I enjoyed in the weeks leading up to Halloween. You should definitely check it out. Another game I keep coming back to over and over is Grabbed by the Ghoulies on the original Xbox. The footage I captured here is playing on my Xbox One. I love the Xbox One's backwards compatibility. A lot of original Xbox titles can be found at local yard sales and pawn shops and can be picked up for really cheap. If the game is compatible, pop it into an Xbox One and the picture quality is stunning. I hope Microsoft keeps this up in the future, but I'll doubt they'll be able to with the newer 4K consoles. Anyways, back to the game. Our story starts in the form of an animated comic strip and goes like this. A boy named Cooper and his girlfriend Amber are traveling through the dark forest searching for signs of civilization as they took a wrong turn while hiking in the forest earlier that day. Suddenly, a storm brews overhead. Checking the map, Cooper feels lost, and with the storm getting worse, he suggests they find shelter quickly. Amber sees a mansion in the distance, and the two of them move closer to check it out. Meanwhile, a distant shadow lurks about in the window of the mansion. It is the shadow of a man that goes by the name Baron von Ghoul. He's the owner of the massive estate filled with ghosts, ghouls, goblins, and spirits alike. To his surprise, the Baron sees two strangers approaching his manor. Cooper looks on ahead, voicing his concerns for their safety as he and Amber approach the gate. He would much rather take his chances in the next village, stating, "Places like this are full of creeps, or worse." Disgusted by their intrusion, the Baron scoffs, bewildered by Cooper's offensive statement implying that the Baron is a creep. Baron von Ghoul conjures up a plan for his new guests. Outside, Cooper checks the map once more, looking for a different route. In the meantime, two goblin statues vigorously stew and stir around in the dark of the night. Before Cooper can even react, Amber is kidnapped by the goblins and hauled away into the mansion. Cooper rushes forward, shouting at them to get their hands off her, but Cooper is all too late. The Baron lets out a chuckle and welcomes his new guest to his so-called collection. Cooper approaches the mansion, and the game starts. Grabbed by the Ghoulies is played in the third-person perspective as you control Cooper throughout his journey to save his girlfriend Amber. Using the left control stick controls the movement of Cooper, and using the right control stick controls your attack. This might not be the normal button mash routine that you play in most beat-em-up games, but it really fits well in this game. It's fun to punch, kick, hit an elbow drop or a hammer fist on an enemy and send them flying out a window or into a bookshelf. It's all about timing, and it's a mechanic that I enjoyed in this game. You can also pick up items and use them as weapons and beat up anything in your path. Overall, the game controls well, and I really enjoy this style of gameplay. I like the attention to detail in each room of the mansion. Each room has a hidden book to look for and collect. If you collect 5 books, you'll open up a bonus level that you can play through from the start menu. Another thing I enjoy about the gameplay is the first-person perspective hallways and corridors. You'll be walking down a hallway and all of a sudden something will jump out at Cooper. These moments are called big scares and force the player to hit a combination of buttons to keep Cooper from becoming petrified. As you travel deeper into the mansion, you'll find harder to beat creatures that will test Cooper's ability. Grabbed by the Ghoulies brings a fun Halloween theme to the table. When it comes to games that you can play on Halloween, check out Grabbed by the Ghoulies. I just wish I could have played it longer before. Yep, batteries. The demise of every novice modern gamer like myself. Oh well, I guess I'll have to grab some in time for next year. Grabbed by the Ghoulies can be found for pretty cheap, so keep an eye out for it whenever you find some original Xbox games. So there you have it, folks. 6 games that you could be playing and enjoying this Halloween. Once again, there's so many great games that you could be playing this Halloween, and I only gave you 6. If you made it this far in the video, I want to thank you for watching. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the Tech Exchange of Richmond for helping me find some of the games featured in this video. If you get a chance, stop by their store and check it out. Feel free to leave a comment down below of any spooky games you'll be playing this Halloween. Thanks for watching, and happy Halloween.